Welcome to the Midwest Moguls Show, where we talk all things business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Let's dive into today's episode and make business enjoyable again. Welcome back to the Midwest Moguls Show. We have Austin Bowman in the studio with us today. We were talking beforehand. We were learning a little bit more. World-renowned singer,
yes,
recording artist, everything. He's going to tell us a little bit about who he is, what he does, and then we're just going to have a conversation. So I guess introduce yourself, Austin.
Awesome.
We'll go from there.
Well, yeah, I'm Austin Bowman. I'm a real estate agent, very small investor, and COO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Water City Realty in Oshkosh.
Sick.
It's a really small name.
That's what I was about to
really
say.
Short name, preferably.
How'd they come up with that?
It's all like, so when I first joined, because I joined Berkshire maybe 2 years ago, and I had like my real estate LLC is Bowman Realty.
Yeah.
You know, really creative. I
Oh
know.
yeah.
But so like
Extremely. It's like
when I would talk to people, I joined and I was like, man, like my name is just ridiculous. Because technically my name would have been Austin Bowman with Bowman Realty with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services,
Holy
Fox
crap.
Cities Realty.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's before Water City got launched. So I was Fox Cities. So it was like, I'm like, that's way too long. So I got rid of the Bowman Realty, and now we just basically say BHHS.
Yeah.
Water City.
That's what I was.
It gets, that's the one negative about that brand.
Yeah.
That name, that's a long one. But
So it used to be like Berkshire Hathaway Homes, whatever it was.
Yep.
I can't even remember.
So Berkshire Hathaway
like
is
what was the?
Yeah, that's Warren Buffett's like big company.
Correct. Yep.
And then Home Services is the subsect of that. And then you have like your location. So Patty Wolt, my broker, decided to name us Water City Realty.
Okay.
So it's Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Water City Realty, and Home Services is one word.
Yeah.
So
Wow. That's like a mouthful.
Yeah, no
it's a
kidding.
tongue twister, kind of.
A little harder to remember.
I know.
It helps to have a short name or
Yeah,
just go
that's why.
off of.
That's why I just referenced it as Berkshire.
That's what I was gonna
technically.
say.
I'm not supposed to say that, but like I'm with Berkshire and Water City.
Everyone,
Realty, so.
everyone will.
Yeah.
Half the time, it's like, what brokerage are you with again? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think that happens with a lot of places, like Keller Williams, which is where I was before Berkshire. That's Keller Williams, Fox Cities Realty. You know, and like they can all get pretty long.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
exactly.
But yeah, ours is just a little extra long.
Without a doubt, and that's what we'll kind of get into the topic of real estate in a little bit. But we were talking prior to the podcast. You were telling us about kind of life recording artists. So what, like, explain to us a little bit how life has evolved into what you are doing currently, but kind of take us back to post college or whatever the case is. Like, what was the path?
Yeah, so I didn't finish college.
Okay.
But I started college at Trinity in North Dakota. I went there for
Private university?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
I went to three different private universities / colleges. First one was Trinity. I went there for football and ended up playing basketball as well, just because I wanted to be able to say that a 5'8" stocky guy can play college basketball. It was terrible. I made like one shot, and I thought it was coming back in my face. There was like a 6'5" black guy guarding me.
There's no way.
Geez.
And I just launched it, and the whole team went nuts because it actually went in. But it was a ridiculous. Like, we have the video. The shot went out of frame. That's how high. Because I was shooting, and the guys like over me, and I'm like, oh no, and it went in like. Guys on the bench were chucking towels because it was ridiculous, but they were just happy. Anyway, so I went there for football and basketball, and for viewers, I'm like 5'8", like 400 pounds now. Getting close.
All muscle.
All muscle. Yep.
But so I'm not built for basketball. But so I went there for football, played basketball as well. I have 11 dislocations in my right shoulder.
Holy shit.
Dang. Have you ever had surgery on it or no?
No, because luckily I was young enough, and it all happened within like the same
season,
year and a half. Because it happened the first time I dislocated it was senior year. Football, when the coaches had me play lineman randomly.
Oh my gosh.
I was playing wide receiver, fullback,
Yeah.
hybrid, H-back, which is whatever that is. But they had me sub during practice and put my arm out, and Connor Schrader, if you remember him, he ran up, hit me, and I, just because I'm not a lineman, I didn't really have the coordination down, and I locked my arm, and he hit it and it dislocated it. And
there's no way.
Yeah, that wasn't a full dislocation. That slid it out and where it slid out and went back in. But I knew something was wrong. Obviously, it happened one more time that year, and then the second week of college ball, it completely dislocated, and then it was just like every week.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'm pretty much done, but I might as well keep playing.
Is it like the muscles around the shoulder that just become...
It's muscles and tendons, and so there's apparently, I could be wrong, but there's two different... It can either dislocate forward or backwards, and mine did it both ways.
Oh, shit.
So it's just like...
So it's like hanging...
Yeah, I think when I got it done, or when I got it looked at after that year, so this would have been 20... Yeah, like Christmas break 2011, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Christmas break 2011. The guy at Mercy, the sports doctor, looked at it and he said I had roughly 6% cartilage left in my shoulder.
Are you kidding me?
But I was, 19 and working out constantly, so like it kind of fused back together. But he said once I'm 30, it's going to get weak. And
how is it now? Like
it's fine. I'm lucky. Yeah.
And when you're like, say you're. Can you bench still? Like,
I intentionally bench, but I have to be careful.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the reasons it's been pretty good.
Correct. Yeah, you're just like I don't know, you're getting it to the point of fatigue, but not hopefully exhaustion.
Well, I've kept it. When I bench pretty heavy. Okay. And so at least I try to.
What's the average? What are you repping out?
Well, so I have a 7-month-old, so working out has been been part
in your peak. We're gonna say peak.
Yeah. So like before I had him, or we had him, I didn't do anything, but before we had him, I was doing 4 times a week at good old Planet Fitness.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
check it out.
Not a big Planet Fitness fan, but sorry, was that my phone or something?
It probably was.
Well, whatever.
You can grab it if you want.
But I would do 4 times a week, and I generally did arms and chest at least 3 times, just because I'm like, it's so easy. It takes 5 minutes if you want it to, and you can burn it out really quick. Yeah. So, but my general one, I'd say it was, I think I warmed up with a plate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do like 20 with just 45s on there. And then I would start my reps with a 225, and I would do at least 3 sets of 10 at 225.
There's no way.
Yeah,
I don't even. I think I could probably hit 225 on a good day. Yeah, but it's like my bench is. I don't know. It's not.
Well, it's one of those things. Yeah. Like I suck. I have huge legs.
Yeah.
People think I'm good at squats. I suck at squats. Yeah. So like everybody has certain things. Benches. I'm built for bench. So like, I would probably start with the 2 plates, and then I threw. By the end of it, I generally ended with 3 plates, and that was my last set.
There's no way.
No.
I don't think I've ever.
And then I think I would. I think what I did was I would try to get as many as I could. So I would do like, so the 20 warm up at the 145.
Yeah.
And then or 45 plates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 225, and I would do that at least like once, and then I think I threw 50 pounds on that. Yeah. And then ended with 3, and I could do like 5 or 6. I think was the end of it.
So something just like a powerhouse, straight powerhouse.
That's insane.
My God!
But I did it all the time. You know, like everybody will build up if you do it all the time.
Yeah, it's just your muscle memory.
But I've also been lifting. I mean, I started lifting in 8th grade, so
there you go.
I guess I'm like 20 years.
See,
almost
20 years in the making.
Well, and that's where it's like we look at it, and that's kind of a correlation back into the
18 years. Yeah.
But the business realm, like you start something, and you're like, hey, how long have you been working out? I don't know, 20 years. It's like 20 years. Like that's
shit.
It's insane.
Well, I remember like 8th grade, your brother was one of them.
Oh,
He'd call me roids. Yeah, because like 8th grade. So I went, 7th grade. Yeah, 7th grade wrestling weight, I was 114.
Okay.
Or 112 and 4'11" in 7th grade.
Yeah.
In the winter. By the time I went to freshman football, so a year and a half, I was 190 and 5'6".
Way.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I literally just like
that's nuts.
So I had like a big growth spurt, but I just didn't have a big one since then. Just this one. But yeah, so like I was like 200 pounds as a freshman, so
that's insane.
But that's when I was do you remember Eddie? Do you know Eddie Romer?
I recognize the name.
Shout out Eddie Romer. I haven't seen it in 8 years.
Oh my
but,
gosh.
Me and him, started working out at the Oshkosh West gym.
Damn.
That's
grade.
insane.
Yeah.
So it's evolved. So you were playing kind of to get back on topic. Take us back to the topic at hand. Well, that was so you were playing college ball.
Yep.
Then you stopped going to college. What did that look like after that? What was the transition point?
Yeah. So I basically decided to not go back to. I was at North Central University. I was only at Trinity for a semester.
Yeah.
Found out I was too injured. Went to North Central and decided to do a recording artist with a theology minor. So basically, you're either going to be a recording artist or a worship pastor.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is. And I was only there for a semester because right after that, I didn't do great in my classes. I'm terrible at school.
Yeah.
So, but after that, they raised the prices. So I think it would have been another $8,000 per year or something.
Oh my gosh.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have that.
Yeah, correct.
And I couldn't just do it with financial aid.
Yep.
So I was like, well, that's over. I went and did a couple internships and stuff like that at some churches. And then, so I was drywalling because I got out of ministry after just not the world's greatest experience at a church. I don't need to name stuff, but this wasn't what I thought it would be. And so I was doing construction and drywalling, actually.
Okay.
So I was on a drywall crew, solid rock drywall.
Wow.
And before I got married, and then I had to get wrist surgery for carpal tunnel.
Shit.
No kidding?
Yeah. So that was 2015.
Yep.
August 2015, I had to get carpal tunnel surgery, and I was just like, well, I guess that's not really
What was the
what I
cause of
should
that?
do.
Just-
And I was 22.
Jesus.
So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be in drywalling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
22, getting
Yeah.
a surgery.
Was
Time
it
to change things
Was
up.
it due to the drywall? Like
It was
all
just the use because I'm right-handed, so you're gripping that trowel all day.
Yeah.
And we hung and textured.
Yeah.
So
And that's a ton of work. Like that's not,
yeah, I
not
mean,
easy.
hanging is hard, hanging drywall, but the texturing is just mind-numbing.
Yeah.
Like I just can't sit there and
correct. Yeah, I know.
we were
constantly.
doing Rolling Meadows in Fond du Lac.
Yeah,
So we were
very familiar.
we were doing that the
Really?
whole thing
Wow.
with like a crew of 8. We were texturing that. So we all went like psychotic because
Yeah.
we were joking around. I mean, it was a joke obviously, but we all developed like random personalities.
Yeah.
So we were like, I had a Russian personality. I was Vladimir.
Oh my god.
And I'd be like, hey, Nathan, what are you doing? My voice helps to do the Russian accent. But the problem was it's like a hotel. So, well, I think it's assisted living or something.
Yeah, that's what I was
It's
about to
basically a hotel. So every room is like the same
Yep.
and stark white because it hasn't been painted yet and there's no furniture. So for like a month, we were doing this. We were texturing the same room
Oh my gosh.
Over and over.
over
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
over and over for like 10 hours a day.
That's
Jeez.
see, that's like
That's terrible.
that is terrible. It is
Yeah.
terrible, and it's
Yeah.
like it makes you thankful for a little bit of a change.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And so it was fine. But yeah, anyway, that can be mind numbing. So I had to get wrist surgery to get back to what I should be talking about, I guess. But
No, that's
had to get wrist surgery, and that's when I decided to get into real estate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
So what was
I
I?
guess like what clicked in your head to I guess get into real estate? Was there a different field that you were thinking of, or did someone tell you about, hey, let's talk about real estate? Like what was it that triggered you to start thinking, okay, I actually want to get into real estate? This is
So a guy who's a buddy of mine and a buddy of my family, Bryan Delaney, is a real estate agent with EXP in Wisconsin Rapids.
Okay.
So when I was young, him and his wife babysat me. But now, like me and him hunt together. We've been out to Colorado together and stuff. So
wow.
he's like my dad's age, but
Yeah.
still hang out and do stuff. And he was a real estate agent. And I remember I think I had just gotten the surgery or was about to get it. And he was at our house and we talked about, real estate and his freedom of schedule. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what sparked it. And I went and talked I walked into the Premier Group in Oshkosh, Wisconsin with Kevin Pertell.
Is he still in the business?
He is.
What is he under now? Like,
He's
just
Keller
per
Williams.
Is he?
So
Okay.
I
That's
walked
what was
in.
wondering.
This is before, you knew that hey, you walk into any brokerage, they're all going to be like, yeah,
I know.
because worst case is
Correct.
they're just going to make your monthly due.
Correct.
Right.
You know, and so they're not going to lose money on you really, unless you get like unethical. And
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
then they'll fire
There's a
you.
lawsuit.
Yeah. If you get fired from a real estate company, it's pretty shady. That's pretty tough because they can't really lose money on you. But so this is before I knew that. You know, again, I'm 22 and I'm just wide eyed, and I walk in there and you know he was excited because they had like 6 agents or whatever. You know, so like Spambauer was there.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And some of the
That's
bigger,
crazy.
Yeah,
When you think about
yeah.
like that's such a flashback. Because it's I remember because we were in the same real estate class, weren't we? At Laurel
we?
Stone.
Probably.
Yeah.
Were we really?
I think so.
Why didn't I didn't know that?
But did you get licensed in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm almost positive we were in the
Hey,
same
let's
class.
go. I wonder what our class number is. We should look that up.
yeah, no
we
kidding.
should just like rep it or
You guys
something.
gonna have a little reunion?
I know.
Coming
Yeah,
up?
yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry.
There was
Yeah.
there was one other agent who actually she went to the same brokers that I did, but at that point, it's like a similar story. It's like I was so nervous and so naive to what I was 19, so I'm like, okay, I was submitting online inquiries because I didn't want to call anyone. I didn't
Yeah.
want to walk into someplace. I was nervous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, let's see what agency responds.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, like Century 21 up in Appleton, and I'm like, cool, I'll go in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if this is a job interview or if I'm like just going there to see what's up. And
Yeah, and exactly. So yeah, I walked in there and he was excited for it.
Yeah.
And he used to, I can't remember what technically, but he used to be like the president of the document, like
like the Realtors Association, something.
Realtor
I
Association
know.
for documents. I don't know. So he knew the documents and he trained me on them, which was good.
Yeah.
And you know, props to him. He spent like a solid month training me on documents,
Which is-
one-on-one, which is awesome. Like, so props to him.
Yeah.
But I remember January 1st that year. Well, I
Yep.
guess the next year, but January 1st came and he calls me and it's like 12:02. Like the ball had just dropped.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
now
are you
2016.
serious?
He calls me and he's like, "Hey, congratulations, you're Keller Williams." And I'm like, okay. I haven't had a closing yet, but okay. I mean, the commission then was with him was 30-70.
Really?
30-70. So I'm kind of glad I didn't have a closing, but
Yeah.
Jeez.
30% to you?
30% to the agent.
Oh wow.
It's
No way.
opposite. And even opposite nowadays isn't
Yeah.
that crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's standard.
70-30. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't understand how people are 50-50 right now, but
I know.
there's a lot of people 50-50.
Like
If-
Century
if-
21 is still at that
crazy.
model.
Yeah. If you're 50-50 and you're not getting a handed business,
Yeah.
I don't know why you're 50-50.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's like one of my things with being COO is recruiting. And you know, I don't think there's a whole lot of clients that care who you're with.
Oh, there's
If
no
I
care.
went down my client list and said, "Hey, do you know who my broker was 5 years ago?" They'd be like, "I don't
Yeah.
know."
It's
just
the
bought a
personal
house. You know,
relationship. Yeah.
They'll tell you the title company before
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
they'll
kidding.
tell you what brokerage you were with.
No kidding.
Yeah, and so I don't really think that's as big of a deal. It's more what the brokerage does for you.
Yep.
And that's where Keller Williams shined to me,
Yeah.
is it was a different world. And their culture was and is awesome. You know, I know Laura Thompson well. We've
Yeah.
gotten coffee a couple times, and nothing against Keller Williams at all. And I love Caleb.
Yeah.
But you know, but
Just time for a change.
yeah, the culture they had gone through a rough patch, and I don't need to say too much I don't need to badmouth anything, but I guess I had left I was with them for a few years.
Yeah.
Left for a year and was a corrections officer.
Okay.
And then came back. But during that year I was with EXP.
Okay.
Because Brian Delaney, the guy who
Yeah.
got me into real estate, he was EXP. And at the time they were $40 a month. And I'm like, well, I'm leaving real
Yeah,
estate.
correct.
And I don't know if I'm going to be back in it.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to spend $130 a month.
Yeah.
40 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Diet
sorry,
Coke.
that was sitting there for a while. And so I when I came back from corrections, I went back to EXP and knew I just kind of wanted something different. Sold a few houses and went back to Keller Williams. But when I went back, everybody was gone.
Oh geez.
Like
crazy.
I'm like, I don't know anybody. They
know.
went through, I don't know how many, but a few leaders.
Yeah.
So the culture at that time wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I did know went and started Berkshire Appleton, the Fox Cities. Yeah. And so I was intrigued by that. And then Patty Wolt, who was my broker for Keller Williams in Oshkosh, was starting the Oshkosh location for Berkshire.
That's cool. I would like to have Patty in here.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. I would like to hear her perspective on things.
Yeah, well, and she's been in like 30 years, and she's just crazy busy. And I'm like, Patty, geez.
So, but on that topic, like, what are your thoughts? Like, I have my own personal opinions on it, but like the agents who are in the business for 20, 30, 40 years, and it's like a constant. Like you're constantly not necessarily chasing new business because at that point it might be just referral based coming to you.
Yeah,
but you're still
it's your referral based word of mouth by then.
But then you're still out too much. Showing houses all the time. You're still talking to buyers and sellers on vacation or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, is that something that you inspire to do or like
no? I'll just leave it at that. No, I think there's nothing wrong. I mean, we have a couple older agents that are still selling. I mean, that they're, past 50, past 50, and they just had like one just broke $1 million last month.
Wow.
Jeez.
So like they can do it. And that's great. If that's what you want to do, that's great. I'm not, I know we kind of noted on this. I'm just not in real estate to be selling when I'm 70.
Yeah.
I want to be chilling with grandkids and hunting elk. That's, or
that's so cool.
Hunting in some heated blind.
Yeah, there you go.
I was about to say you're going to be hiking mountains.
That had some elevator up to it. But I could use that now. But no, that's, I'm not in real estate because I'm in real estate because of the life it can give me, not necessarily because I'm super passionate about $150,000 houses in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You can be, and there's nothing better to me than winning with a buyer that's had a tough road.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. So like the people is a huge part of it. Yeah. But it's not with the intention. I think that's one of the negatives that I'll tell people is, hey, this isn't like you build your business.
Yep.
But it's a hustle the whole time until you develop something else because you're going to be going sale by sale. Which is fine. There's people that make a lot of money going sale by sale.
Correct. Yeah.
And some people like need that. They're just high wired. But that's just the nature of the business, but you can, for me, if I needed to go pick up my son right now, I can. Yeah. Well,
which is pretty
right
cool.
now. I could, I don't have to
walk out.
I'm about to. I'm pretty upset. No, actually offended. I try to get offended at least once a day. So thank you. No, but that's like, I don't have to ask anybody. If I want, like I went hunting last week, I don't need to ask. Correct. Like obviously you have your meetings and you need to shape stuff around it.
Of course. Of course.
Like I changed stuff. I have a showing tomorrow night that I was originally going to be home to make dinner, but I had to change that around because that's the only time they can. Correct. So like, that's just part of the business as like being flexible. But
and it comes with the territory. And it is what it is on that side of things. But so I want to get into the faith side of things. We'll save that for then. So stay tuned because I have some questions on that I wanted to run past you because I'm in a journey right now on that side. But you were talking about. You've been out to Colorado or at least out west multiple times hunting. What has that been like? Because that's something that both Joe and I would absolutely love to do. Whether it's elk hunting or mule deer.
Have either of you done it?
No.
So what's your like? You mentioned that you'd like to get back into bow hunting. Have you? So you have.
Yep.
Okay. What about you?
I have not bow hunted. I don't own a bow.
I'm going to give your brother some crap for not getting you into hunting.
I know. No,
well, he's more into fishing though, right?
Yeah. Well. He's about 50-50.
Is he?
I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I still I go deer hunting and
gun hunting.
Just gun. I haven't gotten into bow mainly.
Side note: did you have any luck this weekend or the weekend before?
No,
I'm right there with you.
Didn't see a single.
I helped my dad set up a stand, and guess who shot one?
He did.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
That's how it goes. That's okay. That's okay. I got a lot more years left to hunt than he does. So
I was not gonna lie. Earlier today, I was looking at hunting land.
hey!
I was looking around like La Crosse area down south and everything. I'm like, I did find it was like 160 acres over by Tomahawk for like
there you go,
right around like 150.
1,000, so like
Yeah.
a grand an acre.
Yeah.
That doesn't
not
seem that
bad.
bad.
Not bad at all. Obviously, there has to be something going on.
Correct.
There's no structure
Lake
on it.
Lake Tomahawk or like south?
Just Tomahawk
Tomahawk, like
the
up north.
town.
Okay, yeah.
Town, yeah.
So I actually go to Lake Tomahawk every year.
Oh, really?
Really?
So ironically in August. Yeah,
Oh, dang.
That's a pretty. That's
Peterson.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Peterson House.
Oh
But
my gosh, it's
yeah,
so pretty
family
up there.
thing. But yeah, I mean, you go and it's just so much better fishing. I mean, I've caught northern like fishing for bluegill. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. That's
You go and try to catch a northern anywhere here and
Right.
good luck, you know. But
No way.
anyway,
I don't have the patience for fishing. I enjoy hunting because you're at least out
yeah,
fishing. I can't stand.
I like pan fishing. I've gotten over walleye. Like I've floated down a river too many times with nothing.
Yeah.
And like spent 10 hours going like this.
Yeah.
And like to maybe catch one walleye. I'm like,
Right.
I'm good. Like I'd rather catch 30 perch.
so. Do you ice fish then?
I do. Yeah.
A lot.
Not a lot, but of course I have the full setup to do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
Well, you have to.
I did like Battle on Bago for one day 2
Okay.
years ago when there was actually ice, and
Right.
then. But that's part of it. Is I'd like to get more into it, but the last 2 years have been terrible ice. For ice fishing.
I know
So
that's
I
kind of
enjoy it.
That's the thing is Jared. He does a lot of ice fishing. So if I
gosh.
ever want to go ice fishing, I just
That's what I
reach
helped
out
him
to
at when I worked at Shields.
Oh,
I
really?
helped him look at an ice shanty.
Oh, yep. So yeah, now he has a nice portable one, and he kind of, I guess, engineered the shit out of it.
Makes sense.
Yep. But yeah, if I ever need
Well,
to
he's
go,
an
I go with him.
engineer, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure because he went to like Platteville, I think.
Yeah, he went to Platteville.
Yeah. Classic Jared. But
It's and that's like ice fishing. Like I don't see how you guys have.
I like ice fishing if you can stay warm.
Even find it
dude, ice
interesting.
fishing, man, you're sitting, you're warm.
If
Well, I
you're
know.
warm.
See,
Most of
and
the
that's-
time you're sweating.
Yeah.
Because you're in a heater and then you're in this huge suit and then
Correct.
you're in a shelter.
Yeah.
Just bring a cigar,
Yeah.
man. Have a
I
good
know.
time.
and then you
know?
get to look at a little
That's like-
screen with all the fishies on.
I know.
It is
that-
a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work if you're not finding fish and if you move a lot, which you're supposed to do. But you're also not managing a boat, which is also
That's true.
easier in a
That's
way.
true.
Like
Yeah.
you could just walk out there, and you don't need a shelter. Like I'd recommend it. You can pick them up for like under $200 at Marketplace all the time. But
I know.
it's pretty easy, and I just use the wonky drills.
Yep.
And I've never not like those things. Just are ridiculous.
yeah.
It's just 2 feet of ice, and it just doesn't matter. I'm like, I don't know why I would get a real auger at that
Right.
point.
I know,
you know?
that's the thing is I saw like a race the other day. I don't know if it was on like TikTok or what, but they were basically had all these augers, Milwaukee drill, just whoop whoop, just done, like within 2
nice.
seconds.
When it's
less.
a drill, and you can like,
I think yeah, the
I have
too.
yeah, for the flips and stuff, I have 2 of them. So I'm like, I can have a backup,
Correct.
and then I can have like 5 I'm like,
Yeah.
I
See,
don't need to spend $500 on a dedicated auger.
Right,
you
and then
know?
that way you can use it for
Hey,
putting
yeah.
up
Any of that.
drywall
Well,
or
and then
doing whatever
the
you need to do.
like also the attachment for the drill, I use a hand auger and it connects, and then I use
Okay.
the connection. So even if that breaks, I still have a hand auger.
There you go.
That I can throw the handle on and do it manually. So like, I don't know.
That's
it's
all you
just,
need.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
all you
I
need.
have like 3 levels of backup if I'm in the middle of the lake. So I'm like, it's just a no brainer to me.
I
But
just
anyway.
avoid all that, and I
Yeah.
just don't go.
I'm a gear
Just
gear
go
nut.
with Jared.
I'm-
It-
I
it's-
know. I know. I
Yeah.
should because I haven't.
Well, you'll probably
Yeah.
catch fish with him.
Yeah,
Don't go
he-
with me.
once.
Yeah,
But I was
That's
talking
what
to
I-
my mom the other day, and I'm like, yeah, I just because we used to do it when we had a cabin up north. And I'm like, that was you had tip ups or whatever. But I'm like,
Yeah.
since it, I probably haven't went ice fishing in, oh my god,
we'll go this
20
year.
years.
We'll go this
So
year.
it's I'm talking from a very skewed perspective of just not enjoying it. But I should try it with
Yeah,
Jared.
I mean,
you could probably go this weekend. Geez Louise.
yeah. Well,
That's true.
I might wait because as soon as Jared's next to me,
2 ice,
yeah,
2 inches of ice. Yeah.
just fall right in. Oh,
Yeah, don't go with me. I'll break that ice
Yeah.
real quick. I'm built to break ice, baby.
Yeah.
Come on now. A size 9.5 foot with 300 pounds on it.
oh my gosh.
Weigh me down with all the ice stuff. Yeah.
Oh my
No,
god. And so you've been out west multiple
Yeah.
times. What were you hunting out there? Elk or mule
So
deer? Or?
both times I
Okay.
did elk. I did a rifle. I've only been out hunting out west twice.
Yeah.
And I did rifle elk and then archery elk. So the archery elk was way more intense.
That's
I
what
bet.
see, and that's what like I watch. You follow Cam Haynes at all?
all the time I met him.
Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah, at Total Archery Challenge.
Dang.
Have you heard of
that's
Total
it.
Archery Challenge?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so
That's
I
sick.
camped next to Black Rifle. Trevor Thompson,
Yeah.
who's a Navy SEAL. Next to him,
Yeah.
he like 6 a.m. He came
Yeah.
up, hung in my window, and he's like, "Hey man, you want free coffee?" I'm
Oh,
like,
dang.
"Yes," and he's like, "There you go." And
Wow.
and then what's the guy? John Dudley. You know
Yep.
John Dudley. So he was next on the other side of me. Same weekend. And
That's
so
nuts.
you wake up and it's
Yeah.
like 5:30, sun's coming up, and you're
Yeah.
on a mountain. And I camped in the back of my truck, and he's sitting there cooking on his Traeger. And to go,
That's so
because
cool.
they go do the course before everybody else, because
Yeah.
otherwise they'll get swamped.
Correct.
But he
Yeah,
was going it. I believe he was doing it with Joe Rogan and Cam Hanes.
No shit.
So Rogan was there, but I didn't get to
Yeah.
see him. But I got
That's
to
so
go
insane.
down with the CEO. So you know Evan Hafer from Black Rifle?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So do you
It's-
know Black Rifle?
Yeah, I know
So
Black
Evan
Rifle.
Hafer's
Yeah.
the COO
Okay.
or CEO, owner CEO, and then they have another CEO and CFO, and
Yeah.
I got to hike down with the CFO and CEO, not Evan though.
Jeez.
So
That's
like
so
it was
cool.
just us three for
Yeah.
5 hours hiking down a mountain in Utah.
That's awesome.
That's insane.
Yeah. So Total Archery Challenge
Yeah.
is awesome, but if you're an archery guy,
Yeah.
like the shots are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like the Tough Mudder of hunting, basically.
Which would be sick.
yeah.
yeah,
That would be so sick.
you're hiking down for
Yeah.
it's 5 hours, and you're going down like
Yeah.
you only shoot like 25 targets, I think. So that's how much hiking is between targets. You shoot 25 times
That's insane.
in 5
Man.
hours.
What was
Yeah.
that? Like, how'd you even get that, like, involved with that?
Just
like, did you
YouTube,
Just,
and then I just
Yeah.
Then I
Google
my
it.
wife I've been to Total Archery Challenge twice.
okay.
And the first time, still my favorite birthday gift I ever got,
Yeah.
was my wife got me and her tickets to go to Total Archery
Yeah.
Challenge.
Oh,
so
that's
we
sweet.
both flew there, and she actually shot.
Really?
So we got her all set up with a bow, everything.
That's sweet. Does she hunt still, or?
No, she
Not
just
really.
she
Okay.
just shot.
Okay,
And she hasn't
that's-
touched her bow in like 2 years
Yeah,
since
that's okay.
since we went. But
Yeah.
of course she can hit
Yeah.
she's a perfectionist, so she can hit tacks. Like she hit a bullseye at 70 yards.
That's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. So
I'm convinced that women, in some cases, most cases, might be better shooters than men.
they are mentally, in many cases, they are mentally more equipped for shooting.
Yeah.
But they aren't for archery. They are not physically equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with like Lexi. What's her last name? I can't remember. Lexi. She was an Olympic shooter and worked at Shields. And people would go and like question her knowledge. I'm like,
geez.
you don't even know
Yeah,
who you're
exactly.
talking.
Yeah,
like she's
exactly.
literally an Olympian, and you're like, because she's 20-year-old girl,
Yeah.
you're like, well, I've been hunting for 20 years. I'm like, you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Compared to her.
She's freaking hitting
The
bullseyes.
only girl I've seen pull back a 60-pound bow. I'm like, you have no idea how many men can't pull that
Correct.
back. You know?
That's insane.
And like, if you don't pull back a bow, like I've had my 6'4" buddy, I won't say his name, but he's 6'4" and he can't pull back my bow. And like, I don't think he could pull back a 60. Just because he never does, you know?
Correct.
So
Well,
like,
and it's such a weird.
It
Like
is.
that's what I think.
you never do that movement other than a
Correct.
bow. Yeah.
And that's where like so many people, like I bought a used bow, and it was like a year old from a guy who I don't know. Do you know Jacob Rand at all? Does that name sound familiar? So he does videography for
Yep.
Whitetail something, Whitetails Unlimited or something like that.
Rand, R-A-N-D.
RAND.
I've probably met him.
You
Does he live in the area?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure
He's-
I've
yeah,
met
went
him.
to West.
And he's young. He's younger than
okay.
us. Well, he's probably
Yeah.
your age, isn't he?
No, he's a year below me.
Okay.
So-
but I bought his old Hoyt. It was like a year old leftover, and I think he was shooting like, and it's still set up for like an 80-pound
Yeah.
pullback.
Yeah, 70 or 80.
And,
yeah.
and I'm like, even that, like at first, I'm like, okay, this is. But then once you get muscle memory and everything, like
can
it's
pull
not.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
There's a balance to like pulling it back and then being able to actually hold it.
Correct.
Like I could pull in 100 bow,
Yeah.
but like I'm never gonna hunt with a.
it's
I'm
like,
not.
you
You know,
gotta-
like Cam Hanes has an 100, I think,
Jeez.
for water buffalo. It's like you can pull it back, but like only
would
for
be-
that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's only because he has like a ridiculous arrow. It's like 600-gram arrow
Oh my
or
god.
grain arrow.
Just blow through an
Yeah.
animal.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Exactly.
But like the Total Archery Challenge
Yeah.
stuff, like you have to know your setup to
Yeah.
be able to be effective out there.
Well, and you're pushing your like mentally, physically, like you're pushing yourself
Elevation.
Yeah.
so
The
much.
Wisconsin boys
that-
come out there and I'm like, dude, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
like,
You walk,
in.
you walk up
insane.
and down a street when
Yeah.
you're in any sort of elevation. You're like, why
I'm
am I
like,
breathing heavy right now? Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I'm like, I was in shape and I'm like, I can't breathe. There's just no oxygen.
No.
Because as like an athlete, like when you're out of breath, how long it takes you to recover.
Yep.
You're like, okay, give me 10 seconds. I'm good. I can bounce back like in basketball.
Right.
Then you're up there and you're like, you bounce back. You're like, okay. And then you take 10 steps and you're like, dude.
Jeez. Yeah, I feel like I just ran a mile.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Like, did I just run full court? Nope. You
I
took
know.
10 steps. Yeah. But they'll put like a bunny at like 110 right in front of a rock. So if you miss, you are losing your arrow. Like you're going to watch your arrow blow up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
And
just
every arrow is like $20. So
Self-implode.
it's like,
Jeez.
you know, when you're building it.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys will specifically build a cheap arrow setup just for Total Archery Challenge.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a smart
But
thing.
then
I
you're
was
going to
gonna
miss more because it's a
Right.
cheap arrow. So it's
True.
like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just like going with my hunting setup and seeing
Yeah.
how good I can do. And then I just plan on getting new arrows afterwards because you're going
to lose a lot.
to blow them up. Yeah.
See, that's so cool. Like it's
Olivia hit a 90-yard shot. Her
Holy
sight
shit.
only goes to 70 because as a woman,
yeah.
like the sight can only go so low, and that's how you have to
Well,
adjust it.
But 70 yards, that's a shot.
That's a shot.
90
Yeah.
is a
I guarantee you 80% of men in Wisconsin cannot hit past 50.
there's no way. Yeah, that's
Accurate.
like a
Yeah.
You
Like-
might hit the deer, but you're not aiming.
It's a
at
long.
that
That's a
point.
long distance.
And-
like
Yeah.
when you're drawing back a bow and you're looking at halfway across
and then
the
you're
football
shaking
field,
like you're
shaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even your
Yep.
draw arm, but like you're holding that.
Yeah.
Trying for some sort of stability.
Yep.
It's like
Well,
you're just,
her thing is she won't let go. She's a perfectionist.
yeah.
She will not let go until it's like lined up. And I'm like, honey, you could shoot. She's just like,
yeah. That's so cool.
but when she shoots it, you
Yeah.
know, that's way more impressive than any of my shots because my sight, when I build that setup,
Yeah.
I can go out to like 113 with my sight.
Are you shooting like an adjustable sight, or are you shooting?
yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's fully adjustable, and then I know the specific grain weight to the
Yeah.
grain of each arrow.
That's pretty impressive.
Because when you're at 100, so the comparison they say is, it's about 10 times archery is about 10 times the difficulty of a rifle.
Yeah,
So 115 or 110 is the same thing as like an 1,100 yard rifle shot. So like your bullet consistency at that distance, if it's not consistent, is the difference between hitting a target and missing it.
Oh, correct.
The wind is if you don't read the wind, you're just gonna completely miss the target. It's the same thing with archery.
That's so cool. That's what I was watching.
Yeah.
Cam Haynes, like the
He's
his
crazy.
podcast.
Yeah,
And
he
it's-
can
and then
hit
they do
like
the lift, run, shoot.
150. Yeah.
And it's like he's drawn back, and like you're like, oh, why is he in such good shape? Like why does he do all this stuff? But then when you
Because he's a psychopath.
yeah, well, that in addition,
Yeah.
Have you seen his kids? Yeah. His Truett Haynes? Do you follow Truett Haynes?
pull up world record.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what is it? Like 2,500 pull-ups in the same day.
Yeah.
That's
His hands are like
Just raw.
no skin left. I'm like, you're ridiculous.
See, they're like that work ethic is insane. Like, and especially for something as what most people, at least in the Midwest, because we don't have a ton of elevation change by any stretch. But it's like
we got a solid 50 feet.
yeah,
Come on now.
exactly.
Yeah. Go
We
up
got, we
Garbage
got a
Hill.
hill every now and then. You ever been to Nordic?
Yeah.
Nordic
that.
Mountain.
Yeah.
tell the guys in Utah that's a mountain.
Yeah.
That's a glorified hill.
Well,
Yeah.
Joe was saying that the other day that he's like, oh, you're going skiing out in
Yeah.
Colorado. He's like, yeah, the hills out there. I'm like, Joe, those are not hills out in Colorado.
Yeah.
those are
Those are
mountains.
mountains. Legit mountains.
The smallest
yeah,
hill is
exactly.
3 times larger than Nordic Mountain.
Oh my gosh.
You're talking on the side of a cliff right now. But no, that's kind of an inspiration to eventually get out west and do that. And now for that process, like I have a buddy who he hunts out in like North or South Dakota, but they're drawing. It's like is it a lottery system when it comes to tags, or how does that normally work? Like when you were getting your elk tags.
It's state dependent. So both my times I did Colorado.
Yep.
And Diet Coke. And that's just over the counter.
Yeah.
Or was.
Really?
I think they're changing it now, but the problem with elk is it's expensive.
Yep.
So like an over the counter tag, you can hunt a ton of places
Yep.
statewide, and it's like $750 for the tag.
Yeah, it's expensive.
That's a pretty
Because
expensive
it's out
tag.
of state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just go there, but you go to Walmart and you buy the tag. Like you have to buy it in state.
Yeah. So
So literally you just drive in there like to buy an elk tag, and they're like, okay. And they check you out just like at Fleet Farm here. And then you go in and hunt an
interesting.
elk. And then you got to pay attention to all the laws and stuff. But
Yeah.
if you're going, don't go to Telluride. They're the worst. We got the cops called on us like 3 times just because we were wearing orange. Just that's how
Really?
Yeah, that's how like liberal they are. Like
Interesting.
it's
Wow.
anti-hunter. Even the cops are like, hey, like I'm a hunter.
Yeah.
Just get away from Telluride because they're gonna keep calling us, and they have to respond.
Yeah.
it's a
That's
call.
nuts.
Because the people would call and be like, hey, we have hunters over there, and they wouldn't
Can
say
you not?
that. Like, yeah, in our truck, like
Yeah.
we're eating
Yeah.
at a gas station.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
my-
But just because
Gosh.
you're in orange,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's interesting.
yeah, that was annoying.
So it's like when you went out there, did you have to, like, obviously you're planning ahead, you're finding like public land, I'm assuming, and there's
Yeah.
a ton of it. So are you just kind of going based upon, like, I know, I'm forgetting the
Onyx?
app. Yeah,
Onyx.
Onyx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
love
Yep.
that.
Is that what
Love
you
that
kind of
app.
utilize?
Yeah,
or
so
what?
I use Onyx and a newer one from Go Hunt.
Okay.
So Go Hunt has their own version, and it's cheaper and it's included with their online store
Yeah.
subscription. So you get like you're a member at their online
Yeah,
store,
yeah.
which you can get deals. Which I don't care about that much anymore because
Yeah.
I don't need to buy that much more
Yeah,
gear. But
correct.
at the time, I mean, Onyx is probably a little bit better,
Okay.
but Go Hunt is pretty good, and I have
Yeah.
all my stuff in there from Wisconsin now for the last couple of years. So I'm kind of hooked on
Yeah.
Go Hunt for right
Go
now. But
Hunt. I'll have to remember that.
Sponsor.
yeah,
Sponsorship.
Go Hunt, they're awesome. Go on their website,
Yeah.
and they do a lot of gear reviews
Okay.
for anything you're looking to buy.
Do you guys normally hunt
Yeah.
public or private land here in Wisconsin?
All public, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
we're working on private. Dude, when I don't have
Yeah.
a 7-month-old, I hunted 4 counties last year.
Holy shit.
4 different
Where,
counties.
where in
Just
the,
all spread out. So
Yeah.
Marathon,
Okay.
Poygan, Winnebago, obviously.
yeah.
Out of I don't know if I did out of Gamey. Brown,
Yep.
Washera, Wapaka.
Yeah. Man,
I
so
mean,
you're-
Wapaka, if it's still the same, Wapaka had the highest deer population in the whole country per
Really?
mile.
I did
Yeah,
not
so that's
know
why
That's insane.
Wapaka hunting land
Yeah.
is,
premium,
Huh.
top dollar.
and then Washera is close, but
That's really interesting. I know. I would just, and I always make excuses like, oh, it's so busy, can't get out and hunt.
my family
it's-
Petersons shot 4 shooter bucks this year for gun,
Seriously?
and they just have like a small thing in Saxville.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Short 4 bucks. And I'm like, I've never shot them one that big.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys shot 4 of them.
Yeah.
So
Joe
That's
shot a massive
Yeah.
buck.
yeah.
Well, probably
Very
a handful of
first.
years
I
ago.
haven't had good luck with shooting buck. I mean, I could shoot a doe all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could have shot 100 doe by now, but I let all of them pass when I'm archery hunting.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's
You
the
know.
thing is, like, we go all the way up to Hayward. I don't know where you go.
Okay.
Just
I'm out by like Berlin.
okay.
So pretty
yeah,
close.
Yeah, not too far.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably
So
better.
No.
that's why cars stopped.
Yeah, I don't want
going
to drive
'cause-
for 4.5 hours.
So,
But yeah,
it's a long drive.
I'm also not seeing any bucks.
Yeah, and that's
Neither did they.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Neither did
And they
we
drove?
drove
Oh yeah, yeah,
almost
4.5.
5 hours.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I like it. I that's just the spot that I've been able to scout because it's close. So
is it pretty?
do you know Country Pride Farms, that meat shop there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know the owners, the Doros, really well, and so we're right by that. So
damn.
Wow.
yeah, I have like probably 30 little spots
Yeah.
saved on my maps.
Is there a lot of other hunters like around there? Is it pretty pressured?
There
or-
was this year, but the deer are also used to the noise. So
Okay.
the problem is there's a lot of dumb hunters. They
That's
come
what I
in
get- that's
and
what I
then
get
they
nervous about.
like
I
they walk
get
in
really
at
nervous.
4 o'clock. I'm like, what are you doing? And then like one guy walked out at 4:15. It closes at like 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what, every day is different, but the guy walks out and a deer walked behind him and you never saw it. Like he walked out, was sitting at his truck 150 yards away. I'm in my tree stand. He was sitting on the ground. He's at his truck and a deer is where he was.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it was just like a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're so like, why are you leaving right now?
Right. Leaving at the.
I'm like,
And
if I knew
especially
I
at
had to
dusk.
leave at 4:15, I just wouldn't go hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's literally like the most important 15 minutes of the entire day.
Yeah. That's.
That's when 90% of the deer are going to be seen,
Yeah. Yep.
or in the morning. But I saw 7 deer this year, and only one of them was shootable, and it was not the greatest shot quality, so I didn't take it. But
Yeah.
it was just a doe, no bucks.
No bucks.
All the other 6 were 1-year-old does.
Jeez.
Or at least, I mean, they
Yeah.
could have been a boy, but
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
$7, but
young.
Too small to tell.
yeah, my
but-
dad shot a doe, and but yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I have a suppressor on my rifle now.
You really?
Yeah, so I was all excited this year. I was all excited. I'm like, yes, I'm not gonna blow out my left ear.
Yeah.
Because I shot out of a blind once 3 times,
Yep.
and I couldn't hear out of my left ear
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks.
Oh
It's
my
terrible.
gosh.
Yeah, when you're in the blinds, it's bad. And it was like an AR. It was an AR-10.
Yeah.
With a big muzzle brake. So
Holy
it was
shit.
just
Dang.
yeah.
Back in some
So I was
heat.
all excited
Yeah,
to have the
exactly.
suppressor on it, and didn't even really get to use it.
Carter, why don't you tell them about your last experience
Oh, I know.
shooting a deer?
So I did shoot a doe last year.
Oh, boy.
But it's so I hunt. What I've been doing is we've had property. Luckily, the last
Usually,
few
yeah.
seasons.
We kind of fucked up this.
I know
this
we
year.
did.
We didn't get any.
We definitely did.
Done goofed.
But we've had property that I can hunt during gun season. So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is sick. Like
Yeah.
whether we're in the process of selling it or it's only a week. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, okay, I'm packing up and leaving. I had enough, and it was like noon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's whatever. I'll head out, and it was in Wild Rose. I'm driving down the driveway, and I'm like, there's some deer to the right. So I got out of the truck. My gun was in the back. And then got up on the hood and then took out a doe. And it was actually a pretty decent size too.
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't.
was.
It was probably
Yeah.
like 80, 90 pounds, but yeah, that was a good experience. And then I'm like, hey, I got a deer. So
Yeah.
it wasn't official. But what sucked about that and why I stopped so early. So my blind was set up, and it's on like how this worked is there was like a ravine or like a gully almost, and my blind was overlooking that, just a ground blind. But then I got there in the morning and I didn't see, like I went out the week before, I'm looking and I got up and I'm like, there's literally a guy up in a tree straight across from me, 30 yards.
Of course.
I'm like,
Jeez.
and that was, they were hunting, well, it was all private right there. I'm like, okay, he's literally hunting the property line, the corner.
Jeez.
I'm like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
hunt this. Like he's literally right there. I'm
Right.
staring right at him.
Yeah.
So then I got up,
Basically did a 180.
really at dawn, and then I went to the kind of the opposite. Like he couldn't see me because I was close to the house still, so I kind of hid myself there, and then I was in the brush. It was just a bunch of pines, so I just hunted that for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that kind of ruined the initial moment because I'm like, oh, this
I've
is
had that happen walking in, where you're both walking in. There's a flashlight 10 yards
Yeah.
away from you, and you're like,
Son of a bitch.
which,
I know.
which
Yeah.
one of us is going to leave? And I'm,
Right.
like, I'm putting up my stand. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and that's what I didn't
it's, you know,
like. That kind of
that was a mile in.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the guy came from the other direction.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's nothing we could.
No, correct. It's like it's just a fluke circumstance, and that kind of frustrated me. And then the year before, I'm trying to think of, we had something the year before because I still went hunting. I thought, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I took off that year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
yeah.
main reason I
we-
carry a sidearm. It's not for animals. It's because you run into if you're hunting a lot, you
I
run
know.
into people, and people are
crazy.
can be the worst.
Yeah.
yeah. That guy was like livid, and I'm like, dude, we both
Yeah.
looked at Onyx.
Yeah.
and
We saw the
the
Does
same
it
same
show?
thing. Yeah.
Does it show other people's locations on,
No,
on it?
no.
Okay, that would be kind of
That-
nice if it did.
Eh.
yeah, but it
Yeah,
would also
yeah.
give away everything.
That's
All
true.
your hunting
That's true.
spots. Yeah.
Yeah,
And, you know,
but
hunters
it would
and-
be nice if it had like the beacon or something.
I know.
but-
That's what I was
or at least an alert,
kind of. I don't know. It's hunting is a very
or like
very
an option.
interesting-
If you had the option, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Like
Onyx.
not to say that you're.
You're like,
Like it doesn't give away your exact position,
Yeah.
but like
Just says
you're
you're-
200 yards away from another hunter.
yeah, yeah, something like
That'd be
that.
nice to
correct.
know,
Or
Like that-
50
especially
yards
during
or-
bow, because you have no idea
Yeah.
where people are.
Oh, and you're
They're all
completely camoed out.
camoed
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've walked up to bow hunters before, and I'm like,
Sorry.
he's like, don't worry, dude. I'm like, I didn't know you were coming either. I'm like, yeah,
I know. That's like
but public land. Yeah,
Yeah.
the joys. We'll have to
we're
get some
working
private-
on private. Yeah, we'll have some this year, but
That's cool.
We'll just have to buy some, and then after the season, if we get anything, maybe we'll hold on to it. If not, then we'll just sell it.
yeah,
Yeah.
can't
But-
go wrong.
Well, I think the nice part about land is if you buy it, then like the taxes on it are always pretty cheap. It's just that initial shell out of cash. But if you can get a good deal on it, we should be able to find a decent deal on some land. Like even if it's not necessarily farmland.
If you're
but
willing to
wooded.
drive,
Yeah.
if you go like out into like Wisconsin Rapids is
Yeah.
where it can kind of start getting cheaper,
Yeah.
which is nice. And I've hunted a lot there.
Yeah.
Which there's deer, there's a lot of deer out there, but the wolves are starting to.
Yeah.
From what I know, they're starting to work their way down.
Wolves.
I saw a wolf poop out by Berlin.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Jesus.
It was pretty. I mean, if it was coyote, it was pretty big for coyote.
Yeah.
So
we
I'm
saw.
like, well, there's not a whole lot else that could have done that. But
We saw 2 coyotes while we were hunting this year, and then we stopped at a bar. We were talking to the bartender, and he said that there's actually now a mountain lion up there that's been sighted a few times. So that was pretty reassuring.
in Wapaka, there's plenty of mountain lions.
Yeah.
I heard one skreeked when I was walking in when I was like 14.
Oh shit!
Blood curdling.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're like, I'm gonna die.
I know. That's when I was bow hunting years and years ago. I was walking in, and this is like when it's one of your first experiences.
Scary.
But it's completely pitch black. And then, but the turkeys were in the trees.
Oh.
And then they start, and I'm like, what? And then you're like instant sweat.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says.
pounding.
This was just on a podcast that like Navy SEALs are talking about. They're like, I don't care what anybody says. It's scary as balls when you walk out in the woods. I will be 50 years old and be like, where am I walking?
I know.
What is that shadow?
Yes. Yep.
It's just you. It's mainly like because like if you've hunted long enough, you know that a deer could just pop up at any second.
Right.
If you're walking through brush, and they will wait till you're like 3 feet away and just oh my gosh,
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't
like there's not really anything that's gonna actually like attack you really.
Right.
Like, but
you hear
scare the nuts off of you. Yeah.
You hear something like rustling around, you're like thinking instantly bear, wolf.
I know you always go to worst case scenario.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's a
and
squirrel.
You're kind of looking around. Yeah, it's a little red squirrel.
Yeah,
mouse.
Yeah. Freaking mice. I've had mice make so much noise before.
That's
Like,
when
how are you making that much noise?
Yeah.
When I was hunting one year and Katie actually came out in the blind with me one day, and then I was like, I don't know what that noise is. It's a mouse. And it's like going through the dead leaves.
Yeah.
And of course they stagger it so it sounds like footsteps.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Get ready.
That is this
Start knocking your arrow.
Yeah.
No, I was at a house today, and this place was rough. It was really, really rough. But
Classic.
yeah, it was. And I'm like, how long has this been vacant? He's like, I don't know, like 5 years. And I'm like, there's no way. There was like raccoon poop everywhere inside. The roof was kind of, I would say, caving in. The doors were pretty much wide open. I'm like, what is going on here? And then
Too fitty.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I'm like, you think it should be tore down? He's like, I think you could save it. And I walk in the inside, and I'm like, yeah, like why is there's a back patio area which was kind of caving in on itself. It's a slab, and then a step into the house. But it was like, so here's the slab, the table here. The step into the house was like down to the floor. I'm like, so are there like floor joists supposed to be here? He's like, yeah, I think those rotted out. I'm like, oh, 5 years this has been vacant.
Floor joists are kind of important,
Yeah.
I guess.
And I'm
no
like,
kidding.
what is going on?
Just a little.
But that was an interesting experience, and there was just poop. And I don't know how big raccoon poop is, but this looked like dog poop everywhere. It was
Oh my gosh.
completely covered. I'm like, what is going on?
The worst house I've been in was in Butamore, and 40,000
Yep.
on like half an acre on the hill overlooking the lake. It wasn't on the lake, but you could see the lake. 40,000 for a 3-bed ranch.
That's pretty cheap.
2 detached 2-car garage. This is probably 2017ish, but 40,000 tells you how bad it was.
Yeah.
And it was all just like damp. It was clearly like a mental disorder kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everything was damp. You could not see the countertops because they were all used TV dinners.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
And the
disgusting.
countertops were like black with soot, whatever it was.
Yeah.
There was 3, at least from what I remember, 3 probably 3 foot by 3 foot tall piles of used cat litter.
That's disgusting.
One was in the middle of the family room on the carpet. It's open concept 3-bedroom ranch. One was right next to the kitchen table, and one was in the center of the kitchen.
Jeez.
Just piles. So they must
in a
just
corner or
they must have just stopped using boxes and just pour down fresh, and then let the cat use it, and then pour on top of it, let the cat use it,
Gosh.
and just adds up.
That's so
All the carpet
so
was
gross.
like a dark,
Yeah.
like wet looking, like smelly,
Yeah.
just damp. Like I don't even know
Were your
how
feet
it smells
sticking
like
to
that.
it? That's what I walked in the house
walk
the
on
other
that
day.
carpet.
My feet were
Yep.
like they were literally. I'm like, why are
Yeah.
my feet sticking to this carpet?
Yeah.
And there's like kids in the house. I'm like, this is disgusting. Yeah,
Yeah. It's so
I know.
gross.
And but I walked into the bathroom. I didn't even go into the basement because the basement had like a foot of water, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I don't even walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
But the bathroom was just like a standard, I don't know, 4x8 bathroom, whatever, and had up to the height of the toilet to the tub, and that height, the whole bathroom up to that level was all used bath tissue.
That's disgusting.
Like wet, matted, soaked, piled up
oh my god.
to the height of the toilet. I'm like, you can't, where do you even put your feet?
What the
But
hell?
then the reason that I was like,
Yeah.
this is a mental case is right next to that bathroom was the main bedroom, and it was perfect. Bed was made.
Are you
Sheets were
serious?
folded perfectly. There was not a speck of dust. The floor was vacuumed.
What the heck?
Everything. It was freshly painted. The carpet was perfect. Yeah.
That's weird.
So I'm like, well, that's clearly like a mental thing where like their space has to be perfect.
Yeah, but everything else.
But
is just
everything
a
else,
mess. Isn't it that's what shocks me all the time is like in whatever, like keeping your house somewhat clean is good, but like when it gets to the point of not even being livable, like realistically, like that's not a livable house. Like that's I always think it has to come down to some sort of mental
just
issue.
depression or
I know,
something.
yeah, it's like something
like you're just neglecting yourself.
correct, and it kind of I don't know snowballs from there, and then they don't, whether it's the motivation or desire or whatever. It's like no, I don't want to do anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like they just stop caring. And
And I don't know if it's like there's so many situations that like this is the stuff that people don't think about where they're like, I want to become a real estate agent. Be like, well, you got to walk through some houses. So,
exactly. Well,
you know, and like, have you seen slumlord houses?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna.
Yeah.
And it's just like you see people's worst and their best.
Yep.
Some people's most proud possession is their house. Some people they couldn't care less.
Correct.
And it's like, what? And they could own it. They could rent it. You have renters that treat the house perfectly. Then that obviously don't. And then same thing with owners.
I know.
I'm like, how do you own a house and treat it that way?
You spent whatever 100, 150, 200,000 on it. You paid it off.
Yeah.
Like they could paint it up. That's what we bought a place in Wausau. They paid like 275 when they bought it. They just let it sit for 15 years or 10 years or whatever. Roof started leaking, mold issues. I'm like, this is an expensive house. Like you guys are just, they're like, yeah, we had, and the husband had a stroke at one point, and some health issues going on, but they were like, yeah, we got quotes on the roof. We just didn't really feel like replacing. They could have, but like no interest or desire. I'm like, what is going on here? Like that's just, it's a different mindset, and it
and
always amazes
at
me.
the same time, I feel like definitely different mindset, but at the same time, like there are people that just life happens, situation, family member gets sick or they get sick, and like that's the last thing they're worried about. Like they're like, I don't even care. Like I know it's in bad shape, but like I have bigger things to worry about right now, like my health or family member's health. So it's tough. Like every scenario is different. There's always a different reason for the situation or I guess the reason why the house is in such disarray. But obviously those are properties that we love to try and purchase and
those are the ones that make you money.
And help out those homeowners.
If it's the right one, that's the thing though.
Correct.
It's like you can get into a pit really quick.
Oh my God,
for stuff that hasn't been taken care of. But then everybody and their mother wants the one that just needs cosmetic work.
Yeah, that's the easy.
Yeah,
that's the
good luck going up against everybody.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
that's what we preach.
Yeah,
just go for the easy ones. But no, that's kind of the opportunity.
Well, there's some that like if you catch like there's some gold mines out there that every once in a while they get forgotten about because people don't realize like that isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah,
and like stone foundations, I'm like, unless it's falling apart, I'm like, just resurface it. Like
it's like a bomb shelter.
I mean, my first flip had that, and I was like, I resurfaced half that foundation for less than $1,000.
Yep,
and like 3 days of work.
But people don't realize that.
It's just mixing mud. The bag from Menards is like $3, and you need 30 of them.
Yeah,
so you're gonna be it's work.
Yeah,
but like
it's also that it's nothing. It's not severe where you're having to tear it all out and re-pour like a
as long as it's not literally falling apart. Like it just half the time it just looks bad.
Well, and I think more people they'll take such a huge price reduction versus actually having to do the work, even if it's like minor work or like you were saying, like the foundation thing. Some people are like, hey, I'll take a $20,000 hit on this just because I don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's like so many people want to dog on a person flipping or an investor or a landlord. They're the one taking all the risk, and they're the one doing work.
Yeah,
right.
Like the previous owner could have just done the work.
Correct. Yeah, but
so why are you mad at the landlord for doing it?
Yeah,
or whatever. And so like, I just had at Thanksgiving, had somebody. Again, no names, but somebody is like,
family member.
Yeah, I remember. Literally quoted saying like, "Well, what do landlords do? All they do is just make money." I'm like, "Oh my!" And I didn't want to
kind of
get into that.
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But you know, it's like all the risk when your water heater goes out. They're shelling out the $1,500 to get it installed, whatever, or more.
Yep.
And then your furnace goes out. There's the, quick $5,000 to $10,000. Takes a while to build that up if you're making $200 a month on it. You know, so
I know
like,
that's
no
one
they get a
sees
bad
that.
rap because there's obviously bad eggs and everything. But I'm like, a lot of times it's just the guy who actually is willing to do the work, and the previous owner could have.
I know.
So
it is. It's definitely interesting. Like, and you run across so many. Everyone has their opinion on things. Everyone's entitled to it, but we're gonna have to do another one because this is sweet. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted to ask you that we didn't get into, but regardless, we'll have you back.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you back soon. But
absolutely.
Regardless, if you guys enjoyed the content, hit the like and subscribe button. Remember to subscribe to the show. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.